Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about realistic expectations for studying medical billing and coding. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So, my shows are inspired by you all, the viewer, and I got this comment and I'm going to read, and then we're going to get into it. But I want to say this first. I have over 1,200 videos on my channel. If you go to Google at any time, you can actually, if you don't want to look through YouTube, if you don't want to look through the channel, you can actually go to Google and you can Google videos about the medical coding credentials, the job search, tips on how to handle interviews and things like that. Anything and everything you want to know about medical coding will pop up in a video form when you go into Google, and my videos will pop up. So that's my recommendation for the simple questions. And I've been getting a lot of simple questions lately, and simple questions are very disheartening to get as a YouTube content creator because there's so much right there. And we do these videos and episodes and things like that, and it's just to still hear, where do I get started, is very frustrating. So I encourage you all to look through the videos so that way you can start learning to do your research. Because learning to do your research now is going to set the foundation for you to have a successful career as a medical coder. Because that's what it takes to be a medical coder, is being able to do research. If you are not a person who likes to do research, or you just want to be told what to do, you want everything, handed to you, things like that, that's not the field for this. Because this field is where we do a lot of our own research, and we have to find things out on our own, because everybody's knowledge base is going to be different. Even people who have years of experience sometimes don't know how to do certain things, or they don't understand how to code certain settings or certain procedures because they've never actually done that themselves. So with that said, learning to do your research now is key. And again, I have so many resources on my channel, so many video links and everything in the description box below. I feel like I need to put a shirt on that says, look in the description box of my videos, because there's so many links there, and it's time you guys start doing that. Okay, so I'm going to read this comment, and I want to thank the viewer for making this comment, but I also want to say this. A lot of these things that are in here is just, again, it's a disappointing outlook, especially somebody who's had experience down this road already. Okay, so with that said, we're going to get into it. Here we go. So the viewer says, thank you so much, Blue. I spent a lot of money, and I owe a lot of money for classes, but I don't feel confident enough to go for the CCA exam. Watched your videos, and I am self-studying to go for the CCS exam now. So going from the entry-level medical coding certification, which is still a difficult exam, to the advanced mastery medical coding certification exam. Okay. I am very motivated to do 2 hours per day of studying and trying to get it all done in about 6 months. I am hoping this is enough time, since I am currently working in healthcare and I have experience in medical terms, A&P, pharma, and I can skip over all of that. Plus, I have some knowledge of the 2020 ICD-10 CM, ICD-10 PCS, and CPT books from the college courses that I took. We were instructed to tab and do all of those extra things, which confused the heck out of me. And I love the fact that you are emphasizing no shortcuts. And yet, most of this email starting is all about shortcuts. I cannot express how thankful I am that you literally saved me thousands of dollars in more student loan debt. Do you have any recommendations or videos about reimbursement or additional programs that I can take? So here's the thing, guys. There's just a few things with this one. But I have always said, and I've emphasized this more and more in the last 4 months, about studying 20 hours per week. I have done that video since quite a few years ago. I think since 2019 I did a video about studying 20 hours per week. This is serious stuff, guys. To learn medical coding is incredibly complex, okay? Because there's a lot of things that we have to know. Do not let this scare you, okay? Before you start panicking and tell me, oh, Blue, I'm so scared. Don't be scared. This is so that you all can be prepared We have to know and understand what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. It's going to take you years to amass the knowledge that you really need to be able to do all of these really complex things. But the fact that you know it now already puts you ahead of the pack, because there's a lot of people that don't know this. They think that this field and medical coding, medical billing and coding, oh, this is something you can do at home and you can make all these big dollars because that's what the school is selling. I'm not here to sell you a school, a program, or any of those things. What I am here to do is give you the reality check that some of you need. Let's start from the beginning of this email. She wasn't confident enough in the school that from the college program that she went through to sit for the CCA, which is the entry-level medical coding certification. This is a 2-hour exam, but you would know that if you'd gone to the website and looked at it. And here's all the domains. The CCA covers more domains than any other medical coding certification. Now, the CCS is going to go through a little bit of a facelift. It's changing the domains, which will kick in May, right? Beginning in May. They're going to have a whole new outlook when it comes to the CCS exam. I've already covered that on another video here a couple weeks ago, right? I talked about the new things for that, to go over for the CCS exam. That's a 4-hour exam. That CCS is a 4-hour exam. And not only that, it's 2 sections. It is multiple choice and it is case studies. Number one, if you are not going through and studying in your book like you should, and if you don't have the speed, you're never going to finish that test. Because a lot of people, you know what happens to them? They run out of time. Me personally, when I took that test in 2021, because I stubbornly held on to my CCA for many years, and a lot of people say, oh, I want to go right for the CCS. You have no idea what you're talking about when you say things like that. I held on to the CCA because there's a lot of ignorant people out there, more and more every day, about that credential that say, oh, well, no, we need all these other credentials, but no, not the CCA. CCA is an excellent credential. You know why? Because it says you understand the fundamentals of inpatient and outpatient coding. You can go anywhere and you can apply at any job with that CCA. At anyone, even though they may say, oh, well, we want a CCS, or we want a CPC, you can still apply with the CCA. It's free to apply. Every place is free to apply, okay? But getting that credential, I was able to change hearts and minds for people because they were like, wow, you know all this and you're a CCA? Yeah, because the CCA is still a difficult exam to pass. But then, some people want to turn their nose at it and say, oh, well, let's go for the CCS. CCS is so difficult, guys. Again, I had 8 minutes left on the clock. Do you think that I was sweating? I was absolutely sweating. And I had already been a medical coder for several years. I had been a medical coder for 13 years by the time I sat for that CCS. And the only reason that I sat for it is because I have things going on in the background that I had to put that, I had to move up with my credentials. And not only that, having this channel and having Patreon and everything like that, I need to set the example. So having that mastery medical coding certification was part of it. So that's why I took it, right? And again, eight minutes left on the clock and I'm over here sweating bullets and I passed. Okay, so that's the thing you have to understand. This already is telling me this is not a good idea because you're already not showing discipline, because you want to go from a CCA that you didn't even attempt. You did not even attempt the CCA. You already want to go to the CCS because you think that you can self-study this way. Okay. Yes, you can self-study for the CCS using my syllabus and everything. And a lot of people have been successful with it. I have posted many testimonials for people who have commented saying that they followed my syllabus and they were able to buy the books on their own, study on their own. They followed my plan and they got their certification. This is free information at that. Not only that, then you want to go on and say, I am very motivated to do 2 hours per day. Let's just say in an average week, you only study for 5 days. Because I always tell y'all too, not to study 7 days a week when you are studying medical billing and coding. You need to give yourself at least 2 days off, right? A day off, 2 days off, okay? I understand wanting to like really dig in there and maybe you give yourself 1 day off a week. That's fine. You still need to have 1 day off. But let's just say for average sake that you do 10 hours per week because you're doing that. You're motivated to do that 2 hours per day, right? 2 hours. And I bet you're going to sit there for those 2 hours at that straight and do those 2 hours straight, which is a bad idea. Because as adults who have adult things to worry about, bills, mortgage, car payments, family, animals, job, whatever it is that you're worried about, right? That you're not going to be able to focus for those 2 hours solely on doing what you do with the studies. So that's why you need to study for a minimum of 30 minutes, a maximum of 1 hour, and then you take a break, okay? So it's going to divide that time out a little bit, but all the reading and the looking up of the codes and everything else that you have to do is not going to be enough in 2 hours that you're so motivated to work. Instead, I tell y'all, study 20 hours per week. And already all of y'all, some of y'all be hyperventilating because you write me and tell me that you're hyperventilating and saying, oh no, Blue, I can't do that. That's too much time. I work 40 hours a week. Well, guess what? There's other people who work 40 hours a week. Some work 80 hours a week, and they still manage to fit all of that stuff in because it's important to them. If it's important to you, you will make the time to do it. If it's not important to you, you won't make the time to do it. Look at everything in your daily life right now. What are the things that you prioritize? Some of you prioritize sleep. You make time for that. Some of you prioritize, being on TikTok. You prioritize that. Some of you prioritize hanging out with your friends or being on the Xbox or whatever, PlayStation. I don't know what it is. I don't know those things. They irritate me. But you prioritize doing those things. So why can't you prioritize something that's going to improve your life and the lives of your family members and the other people that are around you that are watching to see what you're going to do? Because the problem that comes into play is that a lot of people don't have the discipline that they need. And, I get people who comment and they think they're being slick and they think they're insulting me when they say, oh, you should have been a drill instructor or you should have been, a corrections officer. You know what? I take those comments as a personal compliment. Do you know why? Because that means that you see me as somebody that's a very disciplined person, as somebody who gets the stuff done. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is getting stuff done. So if you are not prioritizing your schoolwork, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to learn the material. It's going to take you even longer to learn it. Because trust me, doing this, only studying for 40 hours a week for 6 months, that's not going to cut it. The person who's doing 80 hours a month, right? Did I say 40 hours per week? I meant 40 hours a month. But the person who is doing 80 hours a month is more going to be reaching that goal than the person who's only doing the 40 hours a month, okay? Because in 6 months, that's a lot of time that could be used to help build your discipline, all right? So that's why I say 2 hours is not enough. 2 hours will never be enough. That's not even anywhere near your goal that you should be. 20 hours minimum should be the case. Now, if you go over 20 hours, you run the risk of burning yourself out. So at least stick with 20 hours. And so many of you are going to say, well, I can do that. That's a cakewalk. And then when you actually start doing it, that's when you're going to start feeling it. And that's when you're going to start noticing all the things that's going to happen. It's going to be a change in you. Because once you start getting focused on something that you want and you start learning it more and more, it's going to get better and better each time. Instead of the person that's only going to barely put 10 hours in a week is still going to be confused. It's the same person that's going to be running around in them Facebook groups and wherever else saying that they're confused, they don't understand this, no one ever taught them, that they're trying to self-study on their own, but they're just completely lost because they can't follow directions. Start learning to follow directions, y'all. I mean, really, that's all it takes. Because it's not always going to be the most joyous thing. There's going to be times when you're really frustrated. I go back to 2021 when I was studying for the CCS exam. I had passed the CCSP in March, at the end of March. So April, all the way till October, because about the beginning of October was when I stopped studying, right? I didn't really study after that because, I knew I was going to take my test in November. And that was it. There was nothing new that I was going to learn, and it was just going to be showtime for me to be able to, showcase what I had learned. And being a veteran for all these years and knowing all this material, the only thing I had to really focus on was ICD-10 PCS, and it took me as long to learn that, and it's still taking me time to learn ICD-10 PCS. And I do have on my Patreon channel where I talk about PCS. I know enough to get me around, but I will say that practical application does go a long way. But I say all this to say that in that time from April till the end of October, or to the beginning of October rather, when I was studying for ICD-10 PCS, there was many times when I would get very frustrated with myself because I didn't get it. Like, why am I not understanding this? Because the approaches would be different. In ICD-10 PCS, which is a part of that CCS exam and the CCA exam, understanding your approaches and knowing what these different words mean, knowing what extirpation means, and understanding what the difference between diagnostic and, all these other things, knowing and understanding these terms is so critical. And for a lot of people to say, well, I come from the medical background and it's okay, I should be okay to skip all of that. Okay, skip it and then see what happens. Because I've seen nurses who have their TikTok and things like that, because it's all over like Instagram and stuff like that, and they're just giggling because, they confused medical terms. This one thought she was real cute and said, that she got the perineal and perineum confused. One is a muscle and one is another completely different area. So really? And you think that's cute and funny? It's not funny and it's not cute. And if you do that as a medical coder, guess what? It can lead you to the wrong procedure code. Guess what happens when you apply the wrong procedure code or the wrong diagnosis code? Claims get denied. Claims can either get paid because somebody's not paying attention and then come back later on an audit. Oh yeah, this was the wrong procedure code. You owe us money. Now you owe us a fine. And now this doctor or this organization has to pay out all this money because you didn't take the time to review medical terminology. I'm still reviewing medical terminology to this day. And I have been a medical coder since 2008. That was when I got my certification. My anniversary's coming up here at the end of the month. Because that was when I got my, end of the February was when I got my CCA back in 2008. I'm still learning medical terminology. So, with all that said, let's be realistic about what are we setting ourselves up for when we are getting into this. If you need to start with the CCA, start with the CCA. If you want to start with the CCS, know that it's going to take you studying 20 hours per week, 3.5 hours per day, and then 2.5 hours on the weekend, 3.5 hours a day for 5 days, 2.5 hours on the weekend. So that way you can get your time in for looking at these codes. And for those of you who are saying, and what other materials, because this was the other thing too, what other materials do you recommend? If you can't even get through those workbooks, the 2 workbooks that I recommend for learning medical terminology, listen to me, those 2 workbooks for learning ICD-10 CM and ICD-10 PCS and CPT, and if you can't figure that out, again, it's in the description box. If you can't go through those, get through those first, then move on to something else, even though my channel is filled with them. My channel is filled with all of those. And not only that, you can actually Google. Again, Google. Everybody has access to Google. What medical reimbursement books do you, medical reimbursement books, and you'll see a ton of them. You can go to Amazon, same thing, and find those. You can go to the public library and check out those books, right? Because the public libraries are open. So why y'all are not taking advantage of those things, I don't know. But again, guys, I know some of you get excited and you want to, what can I do? Do one thing at a time. Because it's the person that gets all of these things and all of a sudden they're all overwhelmed, and then you see them upset about it on Facebook or posting a thing on LinkedIn, which you should never do. Oh, it's so much, I don't know what to do, and I'm so confused and I'm lost. There was a lady a couple weeks ago complaining that she was so lost and that she can't find a job and she can't do this and she can't do that. I shut her down in the comments. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that, especially because my channel is filled with all of these resources for you all. And it's free. All you have to do is watch. You have to pay nothing to get this information. Not a single cent. And yet some of you still act like, I can't find it, I can't find it. Or I was told the other day, oh, can you break it down, baby step it for me? Are you freaking serious? No. Because if you're asking for me to baby step it for you, this is not the channel for you. And this is not the career field for you. Because no one will baby step it for you. Nobody. They'll help you to learn if you're lucky enough to find somebody who will help you to learn. But they will not baby step it for you. And it's just ridiculous to ask that question, especially because there's so many materials that you can learn from. And if you get stuck, yes, there's going to be times when you get stuck on certain subjects, right? Maybe you get stuck about sequencing. Maybe you get stuck on coding a particular specialty. That's when you can reach out, find a mentor. A mentor can help you for free, or you can hire a tutor, okay? Again, going on LinkedIn, you can sign up for a free account on LinkedIn, and you can get recommendations that way. All you have to do is make a post. I'm looking for a medical coding tutor. Does anybody know anybody that does tutoring for medical coding? And you will see people recommend people, okay? I am a tutor myself. My rate and contact information is in the description box below. But with that said, guys, we need to have these realistic expectations when it comes to studying medical billing and coding. Study one thing at a time. And don't be that person that says, oh, I know you recommend this, but what else do you recommend? I hate that question. What else do you recommend? Are you serious? What else do I recommend? When I've done so many videos on I did the one for websites, helpful websites for medical coders. Guess what? That did not get a lot of views. I think there was 400 views on it, and that was it. That was all it topped out at. I was like, are you serious? All of these people asking for these references and resources, and all the links were there and everything, and that one barely got any views? Okay. So I just don't really know. You know what I mean? How much more can I possibly do? Okay. So the resources are out there. My videos have a lot of helpful links in them. I do explain a lot of things about medical coding. For those of you who say, well, you never talk about medical coding. Lies. I've gone back through and looked at mine. I was like, wow, I really did cover a lot on sequencing. I covered a lot about E&M before. I've done all of those things. And why people don't look, I don't know. But make sure that if you want additional resources on anything, Google it. Okay? Google will let you know immediately all these other references and resources. Go to the public library, okay? And ask for their medical coding section, or ask a librarian to help you, okay? Because librarians love books, okay? And they'll be able to help you. Ask them for books about medical billing reimbursement books, okay? Ask them about that, and they will take you right over there. Go to Barnes & Noble or wherever you buy books and put that in the search engine, or ask the person at the front desk to help you. So that way you can get in there and find your resources. You can learn this stuff from a book, but you have to spend the time doing this. And for all of you who say, well, I know you said to listen to the guidelines. How do you do that? I've already explained how to listen to the ICD-10-CM coding guidelines. And I've said before, the more that you read the coding guidelines, because if you actually sit there and read them out, the more you read the coding guidelines, the more that you will be a faster reader. Because trust me, when you're going through these tests, and that CCDS exam is roughly 2 minutes per question. And we don't know how many questions you will have, because it's not fixed. There's no fixed amount of questions. It's a range of questions, right, that you could possibly have on that test. So you have roughly 2 minutes to get through these questions. Now, not all questions are going to take you 2 minutes. Some will take you a little bit more time than others, but that's just the average. So that's something else you need to consider. If you don't know how to look up codes quickly, meaning that if you've gone through your practice workbook and things like that, and you still feel slow, you need to work on your speed. If you are not, you say, Blue, I read too slow. I read everything, and then you need to go through the coding guidelines once a week. If it takes you a few days to read those sections of the guidelines, it's going to take a few days. But guess what? The more you do that and the more weeks you put into reading, the faster you'll be at reading. So those are some things that you need to know. The timing, looking up the codes, understanding where everything is in the book, not tabbing your book, not writing, not highlighting, not doing any of the other garbage, because that's a reference book and they are meant to be used as reference. All of the information is there. You just have to learn to use the book. But again, here we go with those stinking training wheels, and people want to put all these tabs and writing, oh yeah, you need to do it. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to learn to use the book. That's a novel idea, isn't it? And somebody said, oh, well, the tabs are too flimsy for me, and that's my only complaint. Then don't use them. Oh, well, it's too late for me, but hopefully somebody else will learn. No, it's a conscious choice at that point. You're just doing it because you choose to put those tabs that you don't need on your book. If you had been practicing with your book, you'd be faster and you'd know exactly where to go. And you wouldn't be so dependent on something that's so flimsy that can tear your pages. Because there's nothing worse to me than seeing somebody with a ratty book that is completely unnecessary. I'm just saying. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But I want you guys to know that when you're studying medical billing and coding, the joy will come at the end when you pass your certification exam. And the joys will be there throughout to encourage you along the way. Like when you are staying disciplined and you're staying with your study schedule and you're staying, on pace with what you're supposed to be doing. And if you are, encouraging, others, that are studying medical coding around you, if you're encouraging them and they find strength in you, that's another bonus, okay? But it's going to take some time to get to that point. And if you're patient, you'll get there. But if you're impatient, then it's always going to be a struggle and you're never going to get it. I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I don't know if this video helped you, but if it did, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.